Right, morning guys. What we're going to do really quickly is swap over to road tubeless, and we're going to be using the Vittoria airliner road kit and some coarser tyres. Okay, so I'm just going to strip off rotors and cassette just because I want to keep them clean in case I get sealant everywhere, which is a good possibility. Get the valve out and you can just pull off the old tyre. In the airliner kit you get new valves. You can buy this as a kit with 2 liners. If you buy the liners you get one for a wheel, so you have to buy 2 liners if you buy them separately. You get a tool and you do get sealant, some Vittoria sealant. I'm not going to be using this. I'm going to be using some Sila sealant instead. Sila sealant because they have a high pressure sealant which has loads of different carbon fibre strands in. They are really good at fixing larger holes, especially in high pressure. Uses carbon fibre filament. And also you can get a replenisher. That means you're not replacing the sealant and breaking it open. You just have a separate bottle of stage 2 or step 2. This is step 1, and you can keep over the course of a year revitalizing, replenishing that without having to crack open your tyre. So this is good stuff. The only complexity with this is you can't put this through the valve. So 2 valve inserts. Okay, this is the one that you're probably used to. Small hole in the top, that just goes into the rim. But if you've got an insert sitting on the top of that, obviously your valve's blocked. So you need, with the kit or buy separately, you can get a multi-way valve. So here you can see you've got port in the top, but also it has holes in the side to allow air to come in and out of the valve. So you need to use these instead. We're going to fit a tyre and just throw some pressure in just to make sure that actually it's holding basic pressure before we put the sealant or the insert in. The last thing you want to do is fit all of the tyre with the insert and then have to rip it all apart again. So start other side of the valve, get most of the tyre on, and then when you get towards the valve, as ever, you get to that tough bit and you've got this extra bit here to pull. If I make sure I pull that tyre into the gully all the way around, all of a sudden yay! When you're doing the pump up, you're going to get the snaps because that's the tyre bedding into the beads around the rim. You get some really nice snaps, and that way you know it's engaged. Now that's the tyre on. I've put it up to 80. That's not what we're going to be riding it at, but that's a conversation for in a bit. And that's holding nicely. So yeah, we know that valve's working. After all that putting on, now we're going to strip it down and get the insert in, and that's going to make it harder to pull together. I always find this harder on new tyres because they're so much more tacky. I'm going to use levers because this is a new tyre and it's tight, and I really can't be bothered straightening my arms more. If you're using levers, really be careful that you're not going to damage or dig into the rim tape, because then you're starting again. Unlike the mountain bike ones, this just comes as a singular piece. We need to get the tyre mostly on, put the sealant in, then close it up, which is slightly deviates from the Vittoria practice. But because you've got the insert in the tyre now, actually squeezing the tyre into that central depression within the rim is a lot harder. So actually with that kit you can get this little plastic tool here, great for home use, maybe not quite so robust for the workshop, but they are looking at working on a workshop tool. We're going to use this to squeeze the tyre into the middle, and then you get these little cartridges, these little plastic caps that clip over the hook in the rim, just to keep the tyre in place into the middle to allow you to get it on. But before we do that, we'll also have to get the sealant in. So here we go. And pulls over. That is a million times more difficult.
Yeah.
And then there. Cool, so let's talk about the really obvious thing that you'll have seen there is the mess. Now I've picked to do Sila Ultimate Sealant because it is specifically designed for the high pressure tyre and is really good at plugging gaps. So if you're stuck somewhere, you can really make sure that you've got the best possible advantage you have in advance for anything that might happen. That's not saying the Vittoria stuff is bad. In all honesty, you could use the Vittoria, you'd put the tyre on, pump it up, make sure everything was engaged around the beads, you get all the pings, let it down, and then you'd put the sealant in, and then you'd forget about it. That's not bad. I've not tested that. I can't say anything about that. I'm just going through a process of testing the Ultimate, and I've got that in my fixie, and I'm going to have it in my road bike. So now 60 psi, and we're going to test it out. Right, let's see what this feels like. Well, it feels quite different, it has to be said, only running at 60 psi. Keep a watch, gonna go out for some rides, and yeah, look out for an update post on how that rides and how that feels. We'll catch you later.